Economic volatility, the realignment of global superpowers, and sharpening social divisions often feel like the symptoms of random, isolated crises. But several ancient chronological frameworks suggest these events are actually the synchronized gears of a much larger, predictable cycle. This infographic outlines the 2027 convergence, a theory that identifies a rare alignment between three distinct historical models: the Vedic Yuga transitions, the timelines of biblical prophecy, and the quatrains of Nostradamus' Century 10. When layered together, they point toward a specific 18-month window where Western financial and political structures are predicted to fail. This timeline identifies the starting point in April 2026. According to the theory, this date acts as a celestial trigger, initiating a countdown toward a total systemic reset by late 2027. In Vedic astrology, this period marks the arrival of Rahu, or the Great Dragon. This is traditionally viewed as a time of mass deception and subversion, where established truths and institutions are undermined by shadow forces. The 2027 convergence proposes that the intersection of these three cycles creates a compounding effect, where the weaknesses in one system, like sovereign debt, are exploited by the collapse of another, such as food security or military command. The first signs of structural failure appear in August 2026. A lunar eclipse serves as the marker for the first major freeze in global financial markets, as the costs of maintaining existing debt begin to outpace the available liquid capital. This diagram breaks down the Niobe ecosystem. In Greek mythology, Queen Niobe's pride led to the destruction of her children. Here, researchers interpret Niobe as a cipher for Western materialist hubris. The theory suggests a minor territorial dispute will act as the catalyst, spiraling into wider ruin. This model of the Roman indiction cycle illustrates how debt reaches a saturation point over time. By mapping sovereign debt against the 2026 and 2027 lunar eclipses, the framework identifies August 2027 as the moment the global financial architecture becomes mathematically impossible to sustain. As financial markets seize, the physical infrastructure follows. Severe geological anomalies and tsunamis are predicted to strike, severing the supply lines that provide the European administrative state with food and water. This infographic represents the Grande Barrière, a term Nostradamus used to describe internal conflict. When these resource failures meet a weakened government, the result is a domestic civil war that fractures the state from the inside out. By late 2026, Western leadership is entirely inward-facing, struggling to maintain order during a period of total insolvency and internal violence. While Europe is fractured by internal conflict, this map visualizes the Rahu effect spreading across the Atlantic. It suggests an era of total technological delusion, driven by AI propaganda, that completely misleads the leadership of the US and the UK. Blinded by manipulated intelligence, these allied powers are drawn into a global melee, committing their remaining military strength to a conflict built on false narratives. The consequences are mapped here. With domestic civil wars already straining the chain of command, this external distraction causes the European naval shield to fail. NATO maritime grids go offline, allowing foreign naval powers to conduct unopposed extraction raids along the Mediterranean coast. The intentional blinding of Western intelligence, combined with the loss of maritime control, leaves the West vulnerable as the climax of the timeline approaches. The convergence hits its zenith in mid-2027, during a rare triple eclipse window. This 30-day sequence from July to August serves as the final blow to the old world order. On August 2, 2027, the path of totality cuts directly through the Mediterranean. This total solar eclipse is the physical manifestation of the King of Terror, plunging regions already torn by civil war and naval collapse into a literal daytime darkness. Under the cover of this blackout, a highly disciplined Eastern power, the King of Angolmois, emerges to fill the global power vacuum. Their strategy is detailed here: salami slicing. Instead of a single global war, they utilize calculated, intermittent strikes to secure trade routes and ports, incrementally suffocating the remnants of the old order. This patient approach allows the East to dominate the globe, while the West is paralyzed by its own internal failures and the total loss of its technological systems. In the wake of the eclipses, the Earth faces extreme solar flares and cosmic radiation. This scorched landscape forces a mass displacement of populations as survivors are pushed out of the ruins of the old cities. This planetary-scale event erases the technological illusions of the 21st century. National borders, digital currencies, and administrative identities simply cease to exist. This table contrasts the two paths left for the survivors. As the previous structures of society dissolve, individuals must align with one of two fundamentally different ways of living. Those who choose the path of Rahu seek to restore the old power structures through artificial intelligence, strict technological control, and submission to the new Eastern military hegemony. The path of Jupiter offers a different direction, requiring an embrace of Vedic knowledge, deep ecological harmony, and a return to the foundational laws of nature. Whether the 2027 convergence is viewed as a literal prophecy or a structural warning, it forces us to acknowledge a difficult reality. No amount of wealth or military power can preserve a civilization if it collapses under the weight of its own internal hubris.